Welcome to the Parsha Perspective. Each week, we will delve deep in a weekly Torah portion to find a practical and insightful way to enhance your daily life. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Rabbi Shalom, and each week we will look into the weekly Torah portion to find practical and insightful ways to enhance your daily life. This week's Parsha Perspective is in honor of our homeland, Eretz Yisroel. May Kadosh Baruch Hu, may God continue to protect our brave soldiers, and may God return all the hostages from Gaza immediately. This week's Parsha Perspective is in loving memory of Edward ben Efraim, Shlomo ben Edward, and Yirachmiel Daniel ben Gedalia. May their souls be uplifted, and may their memories be a blessing. This week's Torah portion is Parshas Shemini, called to lead. Our Parsha begins with a moment of holiness. It is the 8th day from the Mishkan's inauguration, and Aaron and his sons are anointed as Kohanim, as priests, as the divine service begins. They bring karbanes, offerings, as God's fire descends and consumes the offerings, and it is a sign that Hashem's presence rests amongst the Jewish people. But in middle of that joy, tragedy strikes. Nadav and Avihu, Aaron's eldest two sons, bring an incense offering, a keteris offering that was not commanded, and a heavenly fire descends and consumes them, and they die instantly. Moshe tells their cousins to carry out their bodies from the Mishkan as Aaron remains silent. God then speaks to Aaron directly and tells him that no Kohen may perform the holy and divine service while being intoxicated. The Parsha then transitions into the laws of kashrus. Kosher animals must chew their cud and have split hooves. Kosher fish must have fins and scales. And the Torah lists birds that are not kosher but does not give the signs for what are kosher. The Shulchan Aruch explains that a kosher bird must be not a bird of prey, and it must have an extra toe behind the others and a gizzard that can be peeled by hand. However, a question comes to mind. In the second pasuk of our Parsha, Moshe instructs Aaron to bring a calf as a chatas, as a sin offering, and a ram as an oila, as a burnt offering. The pasuk states, "Kach lecha egel ben bakar lechatas va'ayel la'oila tmima v'hakri lifnei Hashem." Take a calf as a sin offering and a ram as a burnt offering, unblemished, and bring them before God. The wording is unusual. The Torah adds the word lecha. And even though the pasuk is directly speaking to Aaron HaKohen, Moshe Rabbeinu makes it clear that he's speaking to Aaron. Why does it add a seemingly unnecessary word, especially when the next pasuk speaks to the nation and does not include the phrase? What is the Torah emphasizing by singling out Aaron's personal sin offering as lecha for you? The Ohr HaChaim Efraim ben Attar, a great sage and Kabbalist, offers a simple explanation. And he writes that the word lecha for you was Moshe's way of telling his brother Aaron to use his own money and his own funds. These karbanes were not to be brought on behalf of the nation, they were personal. And they had to come out of Aaron HaKohen's own pocket. And as he steps into this holy and divine role, Aaron was being asked to personally give something of himself, not just physically, but personally. Before he could spiritually lead the Jewish nation, he had to prepare with sincerity. He had to purchase from his own money, his own karbanes, with his own resources, as a way of showing that his service wasn't just commanded, it was owned by him. Before Aaron could seek forgiveness for the nation, and he had to first atone for himself. And the same pattern we see later on in the Yom Kippur service, when the Kohen Gadol will first offer a chatas, a personal sin offering, before asking for forgiveness on behalf of the rest of the Jewish people. A leader cannot represent the nation until he first stands accountable as an individual. However, Rashi, Rav Shlomo Yitzchaki, the leading Torah commentary, gives a deeper and more profound explanation. He writes that Moshe told Aaron to take a calf as a chatas, as a sin offering, in order to make a profound statement. The calf would serve as a direct reference to the sin of the egel hazav, the golden calf. And it was a reminder, but also a message. The very animal that once represented the nation's fall would now become the symbol of Aaron HaKohen's return. What had once caused shame would now mark his redemption. This moment wasn't just about bringing a korban, an offering. It was about a transformation. Aaron, who played a role in the sin of the golden calf in the Egel Hazav, was now stepping into the role as Kohen Gadol. The one who had once been a part of the nation's failure was now chosen to lead the nation in this holy and divine service. But he hesitated. Rashi explains that Aaron was afraid. He didn't believe that he had been fully forgiven, and he felt unworthy. He doubted whether he could stand before God, let alone represent the Jewish nation before God himself. So Moshe reassures him. Just a few psukim later, the Torah tells us, Karav alam mizbeach va'aseh chatascha va'elescha v'chaper ba'adcha va'adam. Moshe tells Aaron, come closer to the altar, come bring your sin offering, come bring your burnt offering, and atone for the people yourself. Moshe repeats the command because Aaron was still unsure. He needed to know that God had accepted him. And now that atonement, now that the forgiveness was real, now he could move forward. And only after bringing his own korban, his own sin offering, not just physically, but with humility, with sincerity, was he now able to become and stand on behalf as the leader and as the spiritual guide of the Jewish people. This profound lesson from Rashi is especially relevant as we begin to count the Omer. Each day brings a new opportunity to refine a specific midah, a specific character trait, and to examine ourselves honestly and align our inner world with the values that we will soon affirm at Har Sinai, at Shavuos, at the giving of the Torah. When the Jewish people stood at the foot of the mountain of Har Sinai, they didn't ask what the Torah would demand. They said, Na'aseh v'nishma. First we will do, and then we will understand, and then we will listen. They didn't know the path, but they trusted the one above, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to lead them. They said yes before they even knew the question. And as we journey to Shavuos, and the same clarity is needed, a willingness to step forward even when we don't feel ready, a choice to serve even when we're unsure of what it will cost. We may hesitate, we may doubt our worth, but when we bring what we can with sincerity, with humility, God meets us there. We do not need to be perfect to step into the role of purpose. We just need to be willing to show up for real. Because each year, Matan Torah is not just a remembering, it is a renewal. A fresh revelation enters the world. A new layer of strength, a new layer of clarity and purpose becomes available. And it is given not only so we can rise, but so we can reveal. So we can move one step closer to the world, not as it's had to be, but as it's meant to be, a world where God is no longer hidden. And the redemption is no longer just a promise, but our reality, B'ezrat Hashem. In our daily life, it is imperative to realize that we often hold ourselves back. Not because we lack the ability, no. Because we question our worth. We hesitate to lead. We hesitate to speak up. We hesitate to take the next step, especially in a world that is combating every element of who we are today. And we only wait until we feel ready. But real growth doesn't begin with certainty, no. It begins with honesty. It begins with the moment that we are willing to move forward, even when doubt is still in our hands. We may carry the weight of past mistakes or the fear that we're not enough, but that doesn't disqualify us. It shapes us. What makes us capable isn't perfection, it is presence. Showing up with sincerity, showing up with courage, and the ability and the willingness to create space for real change. Not just around us, but within us. And we will grow beyond hesitation, and we will succeed far beyond what we thought possible. There's a profound quote from Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks of blessed memory. Faith is uncertainty. Faith is the courage to live with uncertainty. Have a great weekend and a good Shabbos. Thank you for tuning in to the Parsha Perspective. Check out our website, theparshaperspective.com. Send thoughts and comments to theparshaperspective@gmail.com. Till next time, thanks for listening.